Yes, we're ready.
All right, for the jury.
Oh, please be seated. We're standing for you. And just so everybody knows, you can sit in whatever seat you want to sit over there. So usually jurors will switch it up on me to see if I remember them. All right, everyone, please be seated. And everyone, I'm sorry about the late start today. One reason why we had the late start, it had absolutely nothing to do with this case. I woke up this morning to a flat tire, and then I soon realized that cars no longer have an extra tire in it, not even the donut. So that took me a while to get that problem solved. And then I had some other cases that were unrelated to this case. So we're going to start. And if everyone can please raise your right hand for me. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm in the case of the state of Texas against Mr. Thomas, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. State.
In the name and by authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at the May term AD 2021 of the 186th Judicial District Court of said county, in said court at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, count one, on or about the 11th day of May 2006, Richard Thomas, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly engage in sexual contact with Nina Sanchez, a female child younger than 17 years, by touching part of the genitals of Nina Sanchez with the intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person. Count two, on or about the 23rd day of December 2011, Richard Thomas, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly engage in sexual contact with Nina Sanchez, a female child younger than 17 years, by causing Nina Sanchez to touch part of the genitals of the defendant with the intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person. Count three, on or about the 25th day of December 2011, Richard Thomas, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the sexual organ of Nina Sanchez, a child who was younger than 17 years of age and not the spouse of the defendant, by the defendant's sexual organ. Count four, on or about the first day of January 2012, Richard Thomas, hereinafter referred to as the defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the sexual organ of Nina Sanchez, a child who was younger than 17 years of age and not the spouse of the defendant, by the defendant's sexual organ. Count five, on or about the first day of February 2012, Richard Thomas, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the sexual organ of Nina Sanchez, a child who was younger than 17 years of age and not the spouse of the defendant, by the defendant's sexual organ, against the peace and dignity of the state, signed foreman of the grand jury.
All right. To those charges, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Your Honor, the defendant pleads not guilty on all counts.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state, do you have opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. Let me please the court, opposing counsel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The story that you'll hear today is the story of a girl who came from a broken home. From the time she was young, she didn't really have a relationship with her father. And her mother, who was single at the time, began a relationship with the defendant, Richard Thomas, and brought him into their home. At the beginning, it was Nina Sanchez, who's the complainant in this case, and her sister, her younger sister, Jacqueline. Now, they didn't have a father, so they considered Richard to be their stepdad. And you'll learn how Richard Thomas used that relationship with Nina's mother to his advantage and took advantage of Nina, beginning from the age when she was 9 years old, and how the other adult in her life, her mother, continuously failed to protect her from the actions of the defendant.
we anticipate the evidence to show that beginning around the age of 9 years old, Nina Sanchez was being touched in her private area on her sexual organ by the defendant. And you'll learn how his inappropriate touching of Nina continued and progressed as she got older, to the point where he had sex with Nina on multiple occasions. You'll hear how Nina's previously told this story to people, but because of that lack of protection from her family, she felt obligated to take back that statement, to keep the family together, and to protect her now two other additional younger siblings who were fathered by the defendant with Nina's mother, Santa, in order to prevent them from living a life without their father, just like she did. But you also hear how she's still telling this same story today, regardless of how old she is or how time passed, because what she told back then is a true story. And she was pressured to say it was a lie at that time. But you'll hear how her story has stayed consistent over this entire time period from 2007 through today. And you'll hear how greatly it has affected Nina, not just herself personally, but also the relationship with her family that's still fractured to this day. So we just ask you to listen to the evidence, take in the evidence, and we're confident that you'll return a finding of guilty in this case. Thank you.
All right, defense?
May it please the court,
Yes.
counselors, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. At this moment, I'd like to thank each and every one of you, because you are part of the process in which we started yesterday. My client has been waiting for this for a long time. Notice how the prosecutor said story. In fact, he said it several times, because this is what you're going to hear, a story. And I present to you that it's going to be a fictional story. And this is why. Nina started this long time ago. She's been telling people left and right, and the prosecution will have you believe that each and every one of those people ignore her. The prosecution will have you believe that her mother ignored her. You're going to see that time and time and time again, these people found that her story were lies. In fact, you're going to see for yourself that her story doesn't match. Contrary to what my colleague here said, her story has changed several times. If you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, TV station will have a show and there was a little ball that we have to follow and sing along. You all remember that? I'm going to ask you to follow the little ball. And this ball is going to be her lies. Because she lied and lied and lied and lied again. To the tune that sometimes everybody's so confused that we don't even know what the story is. As if I will tell you a story, you tell him, so on and so forth. By the time we get here, complete different story. Again, notice that it was said a story, not fact, because there are no facts whatsoever to support her story. By the way, no forensic evidence. Supposedly there's blood, nothing, no DNA, no nothing of this alleged continual abuse. You heard that she tried to protect her siblings. Another lie. Why? She leaves at 14 years of age, gone from her house. To do what? We shall see. Gone for 2 years. Where is a 14-year-old doing? The evidence will show what she was doing. Not being abused, but being actual consensually having sex with men. That's what she's done. And now, perhaps, she's having sex with other men and accusing my client simply because he's a strict father. Don't make no mistake about it. You're not going to do that here in this household. to protect her sibling, they say. And you're going to hear that she's actually having sex with her sister. How's that protection? Story. And in her mind, she believes this story. So much so that she has accused my client time and time again. CPS have been in their house so many times, they can't even count. And every time ruled out. She's a liar. School, she's lied. She lied. She lied. She lied. That's what she does. Regrettably, all it takes is a statement for us to be here in front of you guys. And I hope and pray that each and every one of you will see that that little ball makes no sense. There's no tune to this story. It's a fiction in her mind because it doesn't coincide with the evidence. Notice that I'm not supposed to present any evidence because it's not my burden, but we're going to present to you evidence so you can see my client is innocent. He hasn't done anything other than being a loving father. And for that, he's been prosecuted simply because an unruly child wants to have her way. I pray and I hope that each of you see past that. Because scripture tells me that a witness tells the truth until they're cross-examined. That's what's going to happen. You will see how her story is going to change. And you're going to see how she's not going to know what came, because that's what you do when you lie. You have to lie again to cover the previous lie. You will see that for yourself. And I hope and pray that you do. Scripture also tells me that you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. And no, that's not the truth in this case, it's Jesus. But listen to this. When a person tells their side, their truth, it does not change. It just does not change. Oh, well, I forgot this here. Oh, well, I didn't say this here. Oh, well, I was. When it's fiction, though, that's what happens. And that's what you will hear from Nina. Fiction. Stories that have no bearing to the truth whatsoever. And if it was so much so, her story would be backed up by the people that love her. People that at one time were against my client. They realized the true side of the story, her lies. You're going to hear from his spouse, the actual mother of Nina. You will hear from her. She loves her children. Trust me, when all this started in 2007, you heard me right, this has been going on since 2007. You can do the math. It's been a long time. She was saying, you know what, kick you out, you out of here, go to jail, you can rot in hell, like any mother would. Then, reports start coming in. Yeah, this is not true. Ruled out. She tried again, kicked him out again. Report comes again. Nope, it's not true. Ruled out. How many times does my client have to go through this? And now she's going to come and testify and tell you the real side of the story. The story that Nina created in her brain, in her mind. She needs help. She truly needs help. Because the person that has all their factual attributes together don't come up with stuff like this simply to get back at a stepfather. When the evidence is going to show that her father has been so reckless that even smokes weed with her daughter, even does things that a father will never do. Perhaps in her mind, it's part of the story. Oh, and me blame this guy because he's doing it right. My father, on the other hand, he's hot. You're going to see that. I'm not making that up. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is long time coming that the story stops right here. No more. I pray that you have the courage when you go back into the room and do your duty, because you said that you will listen to the truth and you will listen to the evidence and judge it. Please listen careful to Nina. This little girl needs help and she tells stories. Try to get back at my client. A person with no criminal history, nothing other than this mess, time and time and time and time again. This is why he decided to be here in front of you guys You can put a stop to this story. You can put an end to this ordeal and this drama. Yes, the family has been destroyed, but it has not been by my client. In fact, all of them still together, all of them except Nina. The only one that have left since 14. Comes back and leaves again. Comes back, brings. That's her story. That's what she does. You'll see this. My client thanks you. I thank you. And our founding fathers thank you, because this is what they envisage when they say a jury of our peers will judge you. I pray to God that you listen to the evidence and you find my client once and for all not guilty. God bless you.
All right.